Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, March 29th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing, and the candlestick you see right there will also be changing and moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, OSCR. Now this is kind of tricky to talk about because there's perspective that goes into it. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're buying up around there and your plan was to buy and sell within 12 minutes, well then yes, from that point of view, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad because there's no doubt about it. Since that area, there has been this downwards channel that has formed. However, if you care about the big picture point of view, well, part of the big picture is you have to consider what was going on before this downwards channel. And what was going on before this downwards channel is this huge move in the upwards direction. So in all actuality, what I've now drawn here is a bull flag pattern. Let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because it's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go back upwards. But my point here is I don't think it would necessarily shock anybody to see this thing turn around and then pick some momentum back into the upside and get a potential breakout to the upside of that pattern. Again, no guarantees, but it's at least plausible given the bigger picture nature of the pattern. Again, I fully understand that if you're a day trader and you bought right here, you don't care about anything that I'm saying, but that's why I'm trying to distinguish between some sort of day trader and somebody that cares about more so the bigger picture point of view. But if you do care about the bigger picture, then like I said, a bull flag pattern would be the best way to summarize the current setup. Next one, BRDS, and I like this one because it's got a very well-defined level, and well-defined levels can create big, good, solid movement, and you can call it a self-fulfilling prophecy or whatever you want, but when a lot of people are watching the same areas and wondering the same thing, that's what can happen. And the level here that you got to think, and maybe you already noticed it yourself, but the level that you got to think a lot of people are going to be watching moving forward, right up here at that 21 cent mark. You can see that back here a couple days ago, price struggled, and then once again, price struggled, and as I speak, this afternoon, nice solid movement. So if this movement can continue and you can get the price to come up here and potentially get up through there, again, no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that a break of 21 cents could create additional buying pressure? That seems like a plausible outcome to me. If you're someone that likes to play more so pullbacks, then an interesting level down here at these moving averages, purple line being the 50-period moving average, pink line being the 200-period moving average, both basically valued at 15 cents. So if you like to play, like I said, the pullback, 15 cents could be an interesting level. But in my opinion, at least, the most interesting dynamic here is all about that 21 cent mark. So let's see if the price can get up there and then potentially get the break up through it. Next one, VKTX. Very, very impressive move today. And even as I speak, last 30 minutes is breaking essentially to new highs here. So what I want to do is just squeeze this thing down so you can get a better idea of just where this thing stands. I mean, it has not been up at this area for a very, very long time. So like I said, just want to give some, overall context there. And as far as pullbacks are concerned, we'll use something different for that. There we go. So as pullbacks are concerned, in the very nearer term, you have an interesting level down there at $14.70. And if you want to wait for more of a deeper pullback, then right there. Now, of course, if you wait for this, the big risk is maybe you never even get a trade because it never goes down to that $14 mark. But that's where you got to figure out what works best for you. So those would be the two main areas of support for a pullback. As far as levels of resistance, as I showed at the beginning of this one, there just wasn't any other areas that you could really look for because this is a good problem to have, but essentially a blue sky breakout right now in this one. So you can't really look back and see, okay, that was a former area of resistance or anything like that. Again, good problem to have when you can look back there. Now, in the very near term, sure, you could say that the high right there is at 1550 is the very near term level of resistance. That would be fair. But as I showed from more of an overarching standpoint, nothing there. It's because the price is essentially in a blue sky breakout. But yeah, good momentum, good movement. Let's see if it carries into Wednesday. Next one here, PYXS, and this one's got a special place in my heart now because did this one in yesterday's watch list video, and I didn't see a whole lot of people talking about it. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm the only person that saw it or the only person that talked about it, but I didn't see that many people talking about it. So if you did watch yesterday's video and you notice it specifically that red line there, which I talked about as a key level of resistance, you can see this morning that red line started to act as resistance once again. But for those of you that were waiting for that breakout, which I talked about in yesterday's video and did buy the breakout, congratulations. You got a huge movement in your favor. So massive congrats. So I'll get rid of those levels now as they serve their purpose. In terms of the newest area of resistance, we have ourselves another good solid pattern here. So, nothing fancy here. I'm not implying that, nobody else has noticed this pattern. A lot of people have noticed this pattern, so we can once again introduce that whole talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies. But so there's the support part of it, and then to make it all one color, to make it easier to see, let's do that. So resistance, support, big move up, golf hole down here for you golfers out there to make it more visual. And this is what we'd have, a bull pennant pattern. So far we've seen a bull flag pattern. In this situation, we have a bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, if you like stocks down below $5, keep an eye on it. Next one here, AMC, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video. But if you did watch yesterday's video, I talked about the fact that, okay, this thing had broken out, but today it was a question of, okay, was that breakout the start of something actually bigger? And we got our answer today. And yes, indeed, it was a very big start of something bigger as the price absolutely exploded today. So very nice movement. And again, congratulations to those of you that watched yesterday's video and were noticing that breakout there. You got rewarded in a very big way. So we'll get rid of those levels if they serve their purpose for now. In terms of newest levels of support, for those of you that like to play the pullbacks, that former breakout area down there right around 475 is an interesting level. It's also down there right around the general area of that pink line, 200 paired moving average valued at 480. But I'll just call it 475, so that'll be the main area of support. As far as levels of resistance are concerned, key level to watch if there is any sort of attempted move back to the upside, going to be right up there around what I would call the 535 mark. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, overall, any way you look at it, massive volume this afternoon, good solid price movement. Is this the start of something even bigger? Let's see what happens. It is AMC, and it's got a track record of moving and moving very quickly. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live webinar that I'm offering here in a couple of days. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency to manage risk as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, BMEA, and this one has been a monster throughout the course of the day and continues to be a monster. In fact, as I speak, the price is knocking on the door of potentially going to new highs. So maybe we're going to see a great breakout here as I speak. But what I was going to do was draw in that area of resistance right there at the $30 mark. But as you can see here, price is now broken above it, and we're witnessing the breakout underway, which brings about a very valid question, a very exciting question. So yes, you can no longer say that you want to play the breakout because the breakout's already happened. But you do get to ask this question here of, okay, is this breakout the start of something even bigger? Does this thing now have another big surge of momentum behind it? To be fair, maybe not. Maybe this is a fake breakout. Maybe this thing rolls right back over. That's possible. But that's a two-sided coin because, well, I mean, maybe it is the start of an even bigger breakout, and this thing gets ripping and roaring even more on Wednesday. So sure, technically speaking, you've missed the breakout. But if this breakout is just getting started, then there should be, plenty of opportunity still left on it. So keep an eye on that dynamic. If you do like to play more so the pullbacks, then in this situation, interesting pullback level down there right around that $28 mark. But yes, and this is, like I said at the beginning, why I like to do these when the market's still open, because we've been witnessing that breakout and continue to move forward. But let's see if this momentum carries into Wednesday. Next one, MULN, very popular one, so I'll continue to track it just because I know a lot of people are watching it. But the big update that needs to be done here is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So going into the day, that 10-cent mark was an area of support. But when the price did break below it right there during that opening 30 minutes, you can see price try to get up above it right there. Temporarily got above it, but then got rejected back below, which brings about the secondary talking point of resistance is even if you do get the 10-cent break, you got to watch very closely that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, which I've talked about in past videos too, because that's essentially what happened here. Price broke above 10, but then got right up to that purple line, and that's what smacked it back down. So keep an eye on that 10 cents mark and the 50-period moving average in terms of levels of resistance. As far as levels of support, nothing fancy. Just a question of where did the bleeding finally stop today, and that was down there at 9 cents. You can see several times today the bears try to press down through 9 cents, but to give some credit where credit's due, 9 cents did do a good job of holding strong. But yeah, overall, the downtrend continues. Next one here, BA monster move today, huge volume, and we have ourselves a nice pattern. And I'd say this is a relatively popular stock. I think a lot of people have now heard of this one. So when you have a popular stock that's in a very well-defined pattern, once again, bringing in that talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, you could have some of that here. So what is this pattern here? Well, you have this top part of resistance right up there at the $99 mark. And then along the $99 mark, you have a nice little area there of support. So you have a nice tight little pattern up here. So let me change that to green again to represent more so the support dynamic of it. Now you could also look at this in a couple other ways, but for time's sake, I'm not going to go over every little angle you could look at this because at the end of the day, we all got to learn to think for ourselves. But as far as this pattern, so we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the nice move up right there. And again, we'll put the golf hole down there. So a nice solid bull pennant pattern. So again, good solid pattern, very easy to see on a very popular stock. Let's see if that can create even more self-fulfilling prophecies where that carries this thing to up over $100. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, because if you did, you know that I talked about that near-term area of support right there and how if it was broken, then that secondary support could come into play. And sure enough, earlier on in the day, price did break down below that support. Price came all the way down here to that green line, broke below it a little bit, found some support right there at that 200 period moving average, and now getting a bounce off that secondary area of support. So I'll turn that into a quick plug for the live class. Get signed up for it. Charts are not perfect. Nothing is perfect, but certainly a tool that's worthwhile in using. So moving forward, two main levels, or more than two main levels, but the near-term areas that stand out remain down there, 186.50, which is essentially where the price bounced. And even if the price does break below it, don't get too excited from a bearish standpoint, because not that far below, you do have that 200 period moving average valued at, we'll call it 185. If this bounce continues in the two main levels, first going to be that purple line there, which you now know is the 50 period moving average. And then after that, you have this secondary trend line, which I talked about in yesterday's video. So overall, yeah, no doubt about it. Nice bounce right here. But from a pattern perspective, actually all that's occurred right now is a bear flag pattern. Doesn't mean that the price is going to go down. But, like I said, I'd be skeptical right now of the bounce. Not that it can't turn into a bigger bounce and a potential reversal. But like I said, don't go grab the kids' college tuition fund and say, oh, look, it's bouncing. It's for sure going upwards. That would be kind of sketchy. So overall, though, here's going to be the main dynamics that I'll be watching tomorrow as somebody that watches and trades Tesla almost daily. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise, this one will also rise. The difference being this allows you access at a much lower price point. So because the NASDAQ had a rougher day today, this one also did. Although last 30 minutes, got to give credit where credit's due. Nice, good, firm final 30 minutes here as I speak. But the first update, as I've said on other ones, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So moving forward now, this 24.90 mark is going to be that key level. In fact, let me zoom in here a little bit closer. You'll see that right there. Price didn't hit it exactly, but got very close. And even right now during this last 30 minutes, price didn't hit it exactly, got very close, and both times so far has been rejected. Not saying that the price can't get through it, just saying that it makes sense why the price has been rejected up around the 24.90 mark. If the price does get above it, don't get too excited because you have that 50 period moving average looming up ahead, which you can see back on Monday there is what rejected the price back down. But yeah, as I speak, price gets closer and closer to potentially doing battle with 24.90. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to watch on Wednesday. And then as far as supports, nothing fancy, just a question of where did the bleeding stop today before this bounce occurred. And it stopped down there right around $24.30. So keep an eye on that as that main area of support. But yeah, no doubt about it. Very nice late day bounce. Very, very nice final 30 minutes. Let's see if it carries into Wednesday. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the class. It'll be Thursday, March 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, hit that like button, leave a comment below. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. Those two things help out the channel. Communicate to me that you enjoy these. And as long as I know you're enjoying the top 10s, I will continue to put in the required time and effort to get these out to you. So hit that like button, leave a comment below, and definitely get signed up for that free class.